too much, you pause too much, you don't talk too much, you're so boring. But then every video you post the same thing. Why? You say you hate my videos, but then you are the first in the comment. I do not understand those type of people. Never will. Like, get a life.
You don't have to do what she does. You don't even have to like what she does. But she said, I just wish we could all treat people with more kindness when talking to others. Everyone wants to be treated kindly, to the point where even victims are told to be kind and nice. People always want others to speak with more kindness to themselves. And speaking of college, university, Sully had a few bucket list items. Remember scuba diving? She had aquaphobia from a bullying incident. So she went scuba diving. And another huge bucket list item was going to university. In an interview, she said, of the 24 years I've lived, the thing I regret most is not having attended college. I've always wanted to go, but I couldn't. I'll definitely go even if it's later on in life. Sully was in college. And I think that says a lot about Sully, but her classmates really liked her and they respected her a lot. They admired that she just wanted to be there to learn, so everybody kept it a secret. News never leaked that she was in attendance at that college. Nobody knew which classes she was taking. Classmates agreed to respect her privacy and space. They never took pictures, they didn't ask for autographs, they never told their friends that Sully was in their classes. In fact, other than people in her specific class, nobody even knew that she was on campus. Yeah. All the classmates tried their best to treat Sully as just another college girl because that's what she wanted. One of her classmates wrote after her death, "Dearest Sully, the campus is starting to be colored with autumn foliage now. I wish you were here to see it. I hope you at least took with you the memories you made on our campus last semester. It is..."
All those people who pushed her to do unimaginable things, you're all murderers. You have to remember that. All of you who have hated and pushed people to their breaking point, you are murderers. Maybe you didn't get charged for it, but you have to live every day of your life knowing that you are. Okay? I wish that until today they're living without guilt and they cannot sleep and you get nightmares knowing that you did something like this.
is more than enough to us if you found any happiness at our school. Wherever you are, love and be loved to your heart's desire. We love you, Sully. Please be happy. October 15th, 2019, the day after Sully's death, Kuhara starts an Instagram live stream where she seems emotionally unstable and incredibly distraught. She starts crying. "Sully, I'm so sorry. Onni is in Japan right now and I can't go back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I can only say goodbye to you in this way. I'm really sorry. In the place that you're going in that world, do whatever you want to do and be happy. And Onni will keep working and live. And everyone, I'm okay. Sully and I were like really close sisters and I just wanted to say goodbye to Sully. And so I opened up a live and I'm sorry. Please just don't worry about me. I'm sorry, Sully. Goodbye."
묶어서 미안해. 이렇게밖에 인사할 수밖에 없는 게 너무 미안해. 하고 싶은 대로 잘 지내.
A lot of people rallied to Kuhara's side and tried to comfort her, but there were still a small group of people that left some crazy comments like, "Wow, you're really trying to use your friend's death to gain popularity." I mean, the whole live stream, her eyes are so swollen. Even when she's talking, it's so clear. It seems like she just didn't have someone to talk to. She's rubbing her hands together, trying to self-soothe. She's comforting herself. They accuse her of trying to use her friend's death to gain sympathy. Reporter Kang, the one that Kuara had reached out to earlier to help with Burning Sun, she reaches out to Kuara. "Hara, you're such a brave woman and you're very admirable. I want you to be happy." Hara texts her back, "Hello, I'm okay. Yes, I will stay strong and work hard." Kuara will have one last live stream. She's in a hotel room, and taking from context, it must be really late at night. Late enough that some people are either waking up at that hour, but Kuara explains she just kept waking up. Beginning of the live stream, she's responding to comments, and she's speaking Japanese, Korean, and English, which is honestly crazy, but there's a few alarming things from the live stream. And it's likely hindsight, but it seems that her eyes are glazed over. Not like she's doing drugs, but just she doesn't seem fully present. And of course, it could be the fact
Maybe
that she just woke up
tired.
from sleep. I don't know. And there's, again, a really heartbreaking part of the live stream. And this could be hindsight again. Towards the end of the live, she gets up and she starts dancing to the music. And I'm sure it's hindsight. But a lot of netizens have pointed out there is almost this like innocence to the way she's dancing. It almost feels like a little girl in her bedroom pretending she's an idol, pretending like she's on stage practicing her dance moves. Early in October, Kurata does fly to attend Sully's memorial service, but immediately has to go back to Japan for her work. Then November 22nd, 2019, she comes back home to South Korea. She posts a picture of herself laying in bed with the caption, "Good night." It would later come out that on her private Instagram, she posted a black screen with just the words, "I'm scared." November 24th, 2019, Kurata's brother, who didn't see any of these posts, would get a call from Kurata's housekeeper. She's crying, said that she came to the apartment and Kurata had self-exited. He starts screaming, get her down, but the housekeeper cries to him, "The police have arrived, but they won't let me take her down. They say that they're investigating," indicating she is already likely long past. Kurata was found dead in her home, November 24th, 2019. The same Kurata that nobody knew had been such a pivotal part in the Burning Sun investigation. I mean, even after everything that she went through and her first verified public self-exit attempt, she still wanted to help. She wanted to help expose Burning Sun. She wanted to help find the corrupt police official. She even helped animals. She spent a lot of her time volunteering with animals. She would spend time at shelters just scooping away at piles of poop. She's not even doing like the pretty, I volunteered at a shelter work. She's out there doing it all. The shelter owners remember her constantly asking them, "How can I help? How can I help? Just tell me how I can help." She just wanted to help. And basically everybody failed her. Nobody helped her. Even the judge that was presiding over CJ's case, remember Kurata's ex-boyfriend's trial, right? The one with the blackmail. There was this whole trial in 2019 while she was alive, and the judge presiding over the case, he starts doing some really questionable things. He tells the court that in order to come to an informed decision on the case, the videos need to be viewed in court. The videos of Kurata in an intimate position.
What?
To make
Why?
sure that she did not consent to the videos being taken. Basically stating he needs to see for himself. But that would require playing the video in the courtroom. Kurata's attorney firmly rejected, saying no matter how private the courtroom may be, it is unacceptable for the video to be replayed in public. That would be the second offense to Kurata.
That is crazy that they're suggesting that.
The judge changed his mind and stated, "You know what, I agree, which is why I want to watch the video alone in my chambers." Side note, not everyone in the legal community backed up the judge. You would think if he's demanding such a thing, maybe it is the only way, legally speaking, according to the code of the law that I'm not familiar with. Maybe he has a reason, because why would he do something so unhinged? A judge should know what he's doing is right? And making sure all of the parameters are ethical. A lot of people in the legal community spoke out against the judge, stating that even if he doesn't see the video, he should have no trouble determining CJ's sentence. Does it matter if she consented to the video or not? He threatened to destroy her life with it.
Exactly.
Despite all objections, the judge viewed the video alone in his chambers, and after the judge watched it, Kurata had to privately testify to the judge alone in his chambers for 2 hours. Judge or not, just think about that. I mean, this is a man. This is a male judge.
This is sus.
Just think about, again, the re-traumatization that likely Kurata faced. I don't even know if it's something that could be measured. She did everything she could to make sure nobody would see that video. She got down on her knees. And ultimately, the justice system allowed another man, another guy, to watch the video without her explicit consent. Reporter Kang would later say about the CCTV footage of Hara on her knees begging her ex-boyfriend not to release the videos. She said seeing such a massive K-pop star kneeling before a man and begging him not to expose her to the press, it made my heart break. She was so desperate, and as a woman, I understood how she felt. And all for what? After watching the video, after listening to her testimony in private for 2 hours, the judge stated, the content in CJ's possession cannot be said to have been taken against her will, even though she did not expressly consent to them. If she didn't expressly consent to them, she didn't consent to them. Like, there is no maybe. It's a yes or no. Consent is not like a maybe it's yes, maybe it's a no. It's a yes or no. But the court argued that Hara knew about these videos and photos before the blackmailing incident. When she found out that he had taken them without her knowing, she didn't immediately delete them. So technically, she consented after the fact, is how they phrase it. That's what the court is arguing, which I think is a really good argument if you just had a lobotomy. Because what are you even saying right now? That doesn't even make sense. Kuara was on her knees begging so that nobody would see it, and he still watched it. After this incident, people started making memes of the Burning Sun guys holding up finger hearts with words that read, "Judges, we love you all." Which, side note, this is a massive side note and rumor, heavy emphasis on the word rumor. These aren't even really allegations. I would literally call them rumors, just whispers on the internet by unverified sources and netizens. But there is a rumor that the prosecutors in South Korea and probably in America and anywhere else have a large digital collection of unreleased celebrity intimate videos. Which makes sense because a lot of the times they would have to be taken into evidence if someone is accused of filming someone without their consent. But the massive rumor, not truth, but rumor, is that the prosecutors will sometimes show a new prosecutor the collection as part of some sick welcome ceremony.
What?
Again, this is just a netizen rumor. There is no proof of this, but the whole situation with the judge kind of dug up this rumor all over again, if only momentarily. But the judge is not the only one not protecting Kuara. Another notable individual was a professor named Chu Chul-hwan. He had brought up Kuara's passing in one of his lectures, and he claimed to his class that Kuara died because she didn't have a strong enough mentality to withstand malicious comments. He said, you end up like her if you don't have a strong mind. Why do you think people curse at others and hate comment them? It's all an inferiority complex. Why would you make such an extreme choice because of them? You don't need to do that. You need to have a strong mentality. He also stated if Kuara had come to him for advice, she would not have self-exited. He said if Kuara met me, she would have never died. I would have changed her.
Wait, who is this?
A professor at a university.
Why is he commenting on this?
Nobody knows. Why is he even talking? Nobody knows.
But this was shared.
All the students were so pissed. They shared it online. She would have never died. I would have changed her. She was too weak and she just cared too much about what others think about her. I'm sorry, read the room. The last thing she needs, or any of these female idols need, is another obnoxious, thinks he's better than anyone, smarter than anyone, man to be involved in their lives. What's crazy is he received maybe 1%, not even 1% of the hate that Kuara received on a daily basis, but he received it for good reason after this became public, for saying these insane things about her, and he would apologize, and he seemed overwhelmed by the hate. So you should just have a stronger mentality and stop caring about what people think about you. He also defended the ex-boyfriend, CJ, saying that he made one mistake.
No.
Yep. Yeah. He continues,
Wow.
what if student A made a mistake in high school and filmed a slightly erotic video and we all saw it? Why should anybody die? If it were me, I would have said, so what? So what if others see it? What's wrong with my body? You need to have a strong mentality like that. Why should you choose to die just because someone saw your embarrassing side? What good is that to anybody?
Is he fired or no?
I don't think so. He would later try to excuse the whole lecture by saying that he was trying to teach freshmen how to self-love. I just feel like every man in this story is like a caricature of a villain. I don't even know, like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? It's not most cases. Like, this case is just particularly every single man that has come up in this case. I'm like, please just shut up, because what are you doing? Maybe there's been a few redeeming men in this whole story. And that's it. Like, what they're doing, it's so bad. Why would he even talk about her? The judge, the professor, these are all people in power with influence and experience that could have protected Kuara and teach future generations about the law and how it's unacceptable to do what CJ did. But instead, they excused him. People remember how hard Hara trained to be an idol. She was balancing idol training, school. She did this when she was 14. She said once, I went to classes even when I was sick and I had nosebleeds. If I didn't practice, I would start getting anxious. In the beginning, it was really hard to adjust. People told me to quit, but I got anxious thinking about, what if I spend the rest of my life not becoming what I want to do? So I worked hard. I fainted a few times from exhaustion, but I couldn't let that stop me. At the time, a lot of Hara's bullies online would say that she doesn't care, she has no talent, she's boy obsessed, she doesn't care about her future, what the world thinks about her. They called her a train wreck. I feel like in their sick minds, they justified that as a reason on leaving some of the most heinous comments you could think of. Clearly, she doesn't care, so it doesn't bother her, obviously. But that's just so not true. Some of Hara's older brother's memories are from when she was first debuted. She was rewatching her KBS Music Bank performance with her group Kara, and at the end she accidentally slipped on some of the falling confetti and she briefly gasped, "Ah!" as she fell. Her brother thought it was a cute moment and it showed how human and natural she is. And I mean, all the fans online were talking about how the confetti do be a little dangerous and they were cheering her on. But Hara was always her biggest critic. She was in tears watching it. She was sobbing about her mistake and how she could have done better. She should have known better. She should have done better. This is the same woman who in 2013, Kara was touring in Japan, and after performing several stages in one day, she collapsed on stage. She had to be carried off the stage. She was given aid, and she forced herself back on the stage before the concert ended. When the concert ended, she was immediately rushed to the hospital, and she was back to performing the very next day, an entire set. You would think that netizens at the time would have a lot of respect and praise for her dedication for her work, but this is what was being said online. The top comment on that article that has over 6,000 likes reads, "Kara faints during Radio Star after Hara throws water bottle." Because remember, she threw a water bottle on the Radio Star show.
Oh, yeah, I
how is that related?
remember. I know some idols are not the best human beings. And but we are all human. Why don't we treat them with a little bit more respect? And the reason why I'm pausing to think is because like the male idols that we saw in this situation, they're like the worst of the worst, right? But then we have the other two girls. So I'm like speaking for them, not the guys, because it's really hard to like know how to phrase a sentence when it's like under the same umbrella of industry, but then we have two different like stuff going on wherein these two are getting hate for like basically living their life, and then this other people are just doing like atrocious things, right? I'm speaking about the idols that are just wanting to be human and treated as like individuals, not robots, not toys. Okay? We need to let them be. Let them just be themselves. And stop hating for no reason. Let people do them, okay? I hope that we just allow people to just be people and not criticize everything like, oh, Rookie is wearing red lipsticks. Who does she think she is? Like small things. My brain, my head hurts. I feel tired, exhausted from just hearing all this bull shimankles.
Threw a water bottle on the Radio Star show.
Wait, what? How is that related to this?
It's not. They're just saying like a better headline would be she faints after throwing a water bottle because she was known for throwing a water bottle. Another few read, should have been more careful. Maybe she tripped on the water bottles that she threw. That's what happens when you starve yourself to diet. Just eat food and stop being so vain. Hara said one of her favorite quotes was, smiling through the times you're tired and giving your best at work. The day after Kuara's death, a lot of idols were on their way to Vietnam for the Asia Artist Awards. A lot of them were seen wearing all black, likely out of respect for Kuara. Idols went on to social media to pay tribute to Hara, and a lot of groups even rescheduled their comebacks and listening parties. One that stood out was an Instagram post of somebody who knew her since she was a child. And it reads, "Our Ani was famous ever since I was in elementary school. I once went to a dance academy with a friend, and when my friend pointed at Ani Kuhara, I looked and I saw this pretty and very skinny girl in loose clothing sweating buckets as she danced with all her energy. I couldn't see anybody else in that dance studio but her." Would people know now that young and small child practiced so hard to the point of breaking her body to get where she was? It was later revealed that Kuara's diary was found, and I'm assuming with the approval of her family, snippets of her diary were released on JTBC. One diary entry just reads, "It's all right, it's all right, it's all right, Hara, it's all right, it's all right, it's all right." Another one reads, "Hara, it's all right, it doesn't hurt, it's all right." Another one reads, "It's all right, it doesn't hurt, it'll pass, it's all right. God, please forgive me. God, Jesus Father, wise God, please watch over my disappointing self one more time. By your nourishing power, thank you for comforting me. Thank you."
I do pray that I don't know who, I'm nobody to say this, but I pray that God forgive them, because obviously taking your own life is a sin, depending on your beliefs. But in my belief, it is. But I pray that God will forgive them, because the world was so unkind. The world is evil, so evil. Some people say they're afraid of Satan, but Satan is walking amongst us in human form. There's a lot of us Satans, not us, but them, because I don't wanna, I'm not. So evil.
She also wrote about how she being sensitive was the cause of her own unhappiness. She felt like she had this gaping hole in her life from not having her mom, but she needs to focus on being more happy in the future. She writes, "What you say, what you think, it comes true and is put into practice. I have to protect myself first, and I know myself very well. But I'm more desperate than anyone, and I want to feel. More than anyone, I can hurt. I guess I deserve to hurt." One entry that stands out is Kuara writes about being allowed to be loved. She writes, "Is my existence bothersome? Who am I? What should I do? I wonder who I am and if I'm allowed to be loved. Am I someone that can be loved? Do I need to be loved?" There is a comment under the BBC documentary that I think sums up most of our feelings about this case. And it reads, "I think really if there is such a thing as hell, we are living in it. The innocent die early and evil men live long lives until they start on
True.
walls." Speaking of, small side note,
Sometimes I feel like some of us always think that there is a hell, but the hell is this world, I feel like. I feel like this world is the hell. But that's just some thought sometimes. Because of like the things that I see and hear, I cannot believe that it happens. So sometimes I think that what if this is the hell? Because how can a person do such things, unimaginable things? So it just makes it seem like it is the hell, you know?
lives until they start on walls. Speaking of, small side note, after Kuara's death, one of CJ's friends, so her ex-boyfriend that tried to ruin her career by releasing revenge videos of her, his friend posted online, "CJ is having a difficult time ever since the controversy about the assault and the revenge videos. After he heard about Kuara's passing, he hasn't been coping well. Everything related to her is a very sensitive situation for him, so the colleagues are deciding not to talk about it. It's difficult for me to tell you anything more." What?
Wow.
In 2020, Seungri pleads guilty and is sentenced to 18 months in prison. Choi gets 2.6 years, JJY is sentenced to 5 years, and by now, they're all free. Choi, the former friend of Hara's, the one that she was able to convince to give up the name of the police official, he was part of the band FT Island. He was one of the first released. He's also the one that was filmed at church. Do you remember that in episode 1? When he gets out, reporters find him in the church parking lot, to which his mom starts screaming at the reporters, defending her son, essentially saying, God already forgave my baby boy, so who is the world to judge him?
엄마, 기자분들이 오셨는데 막 인터뷰 하시네?
아니 그걸 왜 물어봐요? 가요. 인터뷰는 하나님 끝나려고. 있어요. 아니면 믿음 안에 살려고 왜 그래요?
That guy, he's trying to make a comeback in the industry. He joined FannyCon, a Japanese fan community platform. It appears to have kind of a subscription-based model. So if fans want, they can pay and join a celebrity's channel and get more intimate updates. Kind of like a Patreon, I imagine. And he wrote, "Greetings after 5 years. How are you? I received strength from each and every one of you, and I was able to gather the strength to appear in front of you now. Thank you so much. I hope I can communicate with my fandom here. I want to show you everything about me, including what I want to do with my future and my personal life. I will try to create a bright future with everyone. So please support me. Thank you very much." This man was charged with gang R-wording someone, and he has the backbone to be like, please support me. I want to create a bright future. After JJY is released from prison, which, side note, his whole 5 years in prison were not bad at all. According to fellow inmates, they said he would receive packages of comic books from loyal fans, and he was generally just having a good time. In 2022, JJY met up with his connections in the music industry to tell them that he still wants a music career. He still wants to be behind the scenes now. He doesn't want to be a singer, but he wants to be a music producer. It's speculated that he's preparing to immigrate abroad and return to music. During the process of editing this video, on July 9th, JJY was spotted in a nightclub in France. He approached a group of women, introduced himself as June, and then asked for their IG handles. Later, there was a friend who was with JJY, and he went around telling all these girls in the club that JJY is a famous singer from South Korea, and he's planning on opening up a Korean restaurant in France. There is a literal video of this man in the club, standing in front of a woman, dancing on her, and he's spotted kissing multiple different making out with multiple different women. He has this whole new backstory where he states he's June from Boston, he's a music composer, and he wants to open up a restaurant in France. So now that all this new information has leaked about him and his little whereabouts, he has gone private on all of his socials, and he's even stated, all I did was ask people to be friends with me, and I'm just so disappointed. So someone who knows June from Boston, aka JJY, stated, yeah, 5 years in prison did absolutely nothing. He is the same, and he has no plans on leaving the music industry. Seungri has been spotted here and there going clubbing. It would later come out that right after he got out of prison, he was trying to call up his friends to see if they wanted to go clubbing with him. One acquaintance who is said to have been close said, he called me after he got out of prison and asked me how I was doing. His voice was calmer, but other than that, it didn't seem like he changed much. Another alleged friend stated, he's living his day-to-day life with a pretty bright attitude. There were talks that Seungri was trying to get back into the clubbing business, and the first rumor was that he was trying to open up a club in Hong Kong. He was spotted socializing in Hong Kong. A few Hong Kong netizens stated that they heard through the grapevine he's permanently living in Hong Kong. It got to the point where the government had to come out and say, we didn't give this guy a visa through our talent acquisition program, but
Like, I would have given them the benefit of the, like, I would have been like, okay, guys, we need to give them a chance. Okay, maybe they've changed or blah, blah, blah. But going back to the root of how this came to be doesn't show change. If it was genuinely like, oh, I'm a different person, maybe they'll go back to school. Maybe they will do like some philanthropic causes, or they will be like working for like an, I don't know, something, or just hide, okay, and do their own thing. But the fact that they are like in clubs grinding on women, um, or men, hey, it doesn't show any sort of change, because I am a person who believes like people can change. But then if you get out of prison and go back to a club and do basically what you used to do, if they were if they were doing something else, like like a good cause for humanity, I would be like, oh, they probably did change. Hey guys, let's give them a second chance. Bana. Bana. No.
If he's getting a visa through other ways, we wouldn't know. So like the government would know, but they wouldn't release it to us.
I see.
So I guess there's multiple ways to get a visa. You could go and I guess marry someone. You could try to apply for different types of visas. But the one that netizens speculated he had was Hong Kong would invite overseas nationals to live and start businesses in Hong Kong. Then you'd get a long-term visa.
In Hong Kong's like, we did not do that.
Yeah, they're like, please, no. Yeah. The next rumor was that he was going to open up a club in Cambodia where he does have fans that are willing to come to fan meets. I will say from what I can tell, most Cambodians hate him, but there are a select group of people, just like everywhere else, that support him. He held a fan meet recently where he promised on stage to bring G-Dragon, which ended up going viral and pissing off former Big Bang fans who supported other members because it's just weird. Why are you bringing him into it? It doesn't even seem like they're friendly. He was also promoting Big Bang merchandise, which is very interesting. He also gave this speech on stage in Cambodia.
Maybe they can sue him because he's false advertising. Somebody sue him. But does he have money? Maybe he has money, so people are scared to sue sue him.
Which is very interesting. He also gave this speech on stage in Cambodia, and this speech has somewhat gone viral. He's gripping the mic with all of his strength. He's in a 3-piece suit. He looks like an uncle at a wedding. All eyes are on him, and he screams,
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to Cambodia to my friend. My friend told me, you do. Isn't that the countries are dangerous? You Cambodians are okay. Now I can say to my friend, fuck you all. And I said, shut up and try to come here and see what happened in Cambodia. This the greatest country in Asia.
and he's like puffing out his chest like an angry peacock. I mean, it's just, okay.
Well, if it's not working in Korea, I guess go somewhere and try. For people who were fans, it's okay to be a fan of somebody that you didn't know was evil. It's fine because you didn't know, we didn't know, right? And that doesn't take away from Big Bang, okay, as a group and the rest of the members. Like they weren't part of this. And also their music is still going to be amazing despite his actions. But the people who are still there after all this, that is where the question is like, hello?
His chest like an angry peacock. I mean, it's just, okay, taking out the morality of supporting a guy like this, just vibes wise, this is your man. He's getting off on this attention and he just keeps going. And I said, shut up and come here and see what is happening in Cambodia. This is the greatest country in Asia. People say that he has a Donald Trump accent. Then with the hand holding the mic, he pumps his fist into the air in a victory position and the crowd goes wild, honestly.
One day, bring the G-Dragon to here.
But a lot of people were really upset at this fan meet that it happened in the first place, but also because, like I said, he's stating that he's going to bring G-Dragon. It just doesn't seem like they like each other. Even when they were seen in the same group, it didn't seem like they liked Seungri. I mean, clips of the group have gone viral. This is back in the day, where on a talk show, one of the members, T.O.P., his fellow bandmate, states, oh, Seungri and I are complete opposites. He'll say things like, oh, this is how you make money. All he does is talk about money.
어느 순간부터 돈에 대한 포커스가 좀 많아진 것 같아.
TOP continues, I get very worried as an older member of the group. He has some good friends, but some of his friends, I get glimpses of them at concerts and they worry me. I get the feeling that they're by his side, not because they like him, but because they like his title. The fact that Seungri plans to work with them very much worries me.
이렇게 언뜻 이제 공연장에서 이제 스쳐지나 하면서 사람 인상을 보면은
Even on stage, there's a clip of Big Bang at a concert, and TOP starts screaming, after all, Big Bang is for people forever, forever, forever. The other three members put their hands in, like, you know, those athletic games, and they start chanting forever, forever, as a play on words, as in 1, 2, 3, 4. But Big Bang has 5 members, and the member not in the pile is Seungri.
무대에 내려오면 저희랑 같이 있질 않아요.
아 워낙에 또 이제 일들이 많으셔서
네,
또
일이
사업도
하고
많고
일이
파티도
많아가지고.
많고.
It just seemed that as if in hindsight, the band members were over
They just
him.
knew,
One
yeah.
straight up joked in an interview that Seungri, stop being a scammer or you're going to end up in jail. The way they talk
Wait, one person said that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And just the way they talk makes
That was in my Patreon. I'm reacting to like Winner, and there was like this instant wherein it's not doesn't have to do anything with this situation. I'm just thinking because like the host of the show wanted to call him Sung Lee, whatever, and on one of Winner member's phone, and he didn't have his phone number, and I was like, that's for the best. That is for the best. So maybe it's intentional. It's like, why am I gonna save your number? You're an idiot. Or I'm just fabricating, okay? This is just what I thought when I watched that episode, okay? It's not something that is factual. It's just what I thought when I watched that episode. So don't quote me.
it seem like Seungri just lost all passion for music and just started doing shady businesses on the side. And I'm sure it's making them nervous because if something happens to him, which it did,
Yeah.
Big Bang in its entirety is in jeopardy. So it's not just impacting his life.
Yeah.
It's unclear if Seungri ever was or is still going to open up a club in either Hong Kong or Cambodia. But another allegation starts popping up and going viral. A netizen from China posts on Weibo, so the Chinese Twitter, that she was at a hot pot restaurant. Seungri happened to be sitting next to her with a table full of girls. And the viral post reads, someone had run into Seungri while he was having dinner with a few women. They overheard him telling the woman that he would to the beat of Big Bang's song, Fantastic Baby. It's really insane. Really, like, I wish he would just back to a jail cell. He really is like a fat uncle now. I'm laughing my head off at the conversations he was having with the girls the whole night while eating. Like, literally, he's gonna to the beat of Fantastic Baby. Fantastic Baby was released in 2012. This allegedly took place in 2024. The comments read under that post, can they take him back to jail for a lifetime, please? And another depressing development in this case is, remember Kuara's first dating scandal? She was confirmed to have been dating a fellow idol, Young Junyoung.
Mm-hmm.
He was exposed to have received videos in a private chat room with just JJY, and it was stated that he made inappropriate comments about that explicit video. He was forced to withdraw from Highlight and went into his mandatory military enlistment. He was not legally punished, but he was labeled publicly as a bystander that did nothing. He wasn't part of the group chats, but again, like I said, he did receive a video, and he is now dating Hyuna, which is another massive K-pop idol. A lot of her fans are upset with her because, for one, she seemed somewhat close with Kuhara, like they were all part of the same generation. People believe it's breaking girl code, and it just feels kind of icky. Some fans feel really betrayed by the fact that Hyuna was more of an idol that stood for female empowerment, and now she's dating someone that is very clearly not. One comment on the BBC documentary reads, some said this was released 5 years too late, but I firmly believe this dropped just in time, just when people were about to forgive and forget, just when these criminals were about to enjoy their lives again as if nothing happened. It's the right time to be reminded of how hideous this crime was. And like I said, all the men are free. One netizen comment reads, Kuara was sexually violated, still helped Burning Sun get exposed, and still ended up dead. The Burning Sun guys are sex offenders, and they get a slap on the wrist, a kiss on their ass, and are living it up. And they still have fans. One supporter tweeted, I still don't need anyone's permission or approval to support Seungri. If I have to, I will go through this journey with him alone. Even if I'm the last one on this planet, and that you keep insulting and threatening me, I'm perfectly fine with it. At least you're not hurting him. I just want to say he's not going to pick you. I'm sorry. I mean, this is the same guy that has been sentenced to prison for organizing commercial sex services on 29 occasions in the span of 2 months.
Remember, like the first episode we did, he was like dating 2 women back to back.
Yes, and
taking them out to trips, giving them the same exact treatment.
Yes.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Like the amount of they're living the best life.
Yeah. And they're not going to choose you. Like, you could go to war for this man in my comments, in my emails, on Twitter, on your little self-published Medium articles, and like, he's not going to even notice you, nor will he give a honestly. Like, just, I feel like there's a better way to spend your time. It's kind of sad. The crime that he was charged with does technically fall under sex trafficking. Imagine supporting a sex trafficker. That is something. The court documents also
I can see if you're like during the process, during the allegations, you are still supporting because obviously like they're your alt or whatever. You support the person, but then when the proofs comes out and then the person admitted it and also went to jail for a crime, and you're still like ride or die, then maybe you check yourself as well. Like you have to really check yourself. The problem is not only with that person but also with you. Like you have to really check yourself. You question yourself, or maybe just do a medical test and check yourself really, because there is underlying problems there that you might not notice. Because what if I tell you like, oh, we've heard all these allegations of PDD, and then let's say they went to trial and all that, and then they find out that person guilty, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I still support that person, or like R. Kelly or whatever, all those people. You as a person, tell me what you think of me in that circumstance. How would you view me? Right? You'll be like, maybe Rookie is not functioning upstairs quite clearly, right? So yeah, just check yourself, okay? Because sometimes when something is too close, we don't see the big picture. So maybe what am I talking about?
also stated that he coerced 3 women, most likely his fans, to pose nude for photos in his hotel room that was in China, and he later shared those. But maybe it's this clip that really did it for them. This clip has resurfaced since the BBC documentary. It's Seungri on a reality show called I Live Alone. The clip has gone viral on Twitter with over 7 million views. Mainly people hate watching and trying to understand what's going on. It's an old clip of him. He's crocheting little booties, like shoes, for his neighbor who just had a child. He's cross-stitching, I think is the more accurate description. And he's listening to Blackpink's Playing with Fire song. He's singing along, very exaggerated. At one point, he's asked by the producers why he's cross-stitching, to which he responds, "My neighbor recently had a baby. I thought I should give her a heartfelt gift. In fact, I used to enjoy cross-stitching when I was a kid. I thought I could reminisce old memories and use my little talent while preparing a homemade gift for her." He starts cross-stitching, dancing, and then he pokes his finger with the needle and immediately drops everything to fall on the floor and overreact, rolling around, screaming, "Ah, ah!" It's very cringe. I feel
like if I saw that maybe back in the days, I would be like, oh, but now that I'm seeing it, it's too extra. It's overacting, not reacting, acting.
Around screaming, "Ah, ah!" It's very cringe. I feel like my 3-year-old niece could act better than him. Yeah, he tries his hardest to have this cute, naive little boy. But no, he's like a full grown-ass adult felon. The clip is so just really secondhand embarrassment. Netizens who agree commented, honestly, he was trying so hard to be this persona on camera, but you can tell it's all BS. It's painfully obvious this was an act. But some comments, even after the fact, so these were posted after Burning Sun gets exposed, they read, "He's just a normal person who lives his life happily. It's just that villains messed him up."
What messed him up?
Villains.
What's villains?
Ma'am, I honestly think Seungri is just a normal guy who got mixed up in the wrong crowd. He is the wrong crowd. Like one sane comment reads, "It's so cringe. It's so evident that he's acting and being all cute for no reason. Sad to see he still has fans, and even those fans support him after everything he did. Shame on them. I hope he rots in hell." To which a netizen responds to them, "What the you judge a person for being cute? What did he do exactly?"
Oh.
I mean, you could look up the court records. They tell you exactly what he did. Meanwhile, reporter Kang, the reporter that worked with Kuhara and had all the files in the USB to sort through, she said that a ton of women were reaching out to her, nervous. They would call and tell her that
It's crazy how, like, those comments, those bad comments under that is not even close to the hate that the two Guara and Suli got. It's crazy because it's not even hate comment. It's just like, oh, I can't believe you still support this person. It's not like, oh, you suck, go to hell, and blah 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 blah, and you are what. It's not like that. Like maybe there are comments like that somewhere also, obviously, but for the right reason because this person was evil. But looking at all the comments that she just mentioned, not even close. It's crazy.
they were around the guys around that time and they have gaps in their memory, and they were scared that there were videos of them on there. She could hear anxiety and just panic in their voices. It's crazy that he still has fans, but I think this will tell you why. In 2015, JJY released a song called OMG. This is when Sully is accused of being a sex addict. The music video that JJY is in starts with him waking up in a bed full of women in lingerie. He tries to wake up one of them, but she's passed out to the point where it's like, I don't know if she's just hungover on alcohol. Then we get a flashback. It's a sequence of the night before and how he ends up here, mixed in with JJY the next morning, walking around the house, seeing this disaster from the house party. There's unconscious people laying around everywhere, and he starts messing with their bodies, trying to see if they'll wake.
I think this is just a person. I think he just likes, like, that is his thing. It is his fetish. I mean, if it's in your art, you like it. It's not just that I got caught doing this crazy thing, but he put it in an artistic form. That solidifies that subconsciously, psychologically, you like that.
Up, which, considering he date R-word drugged women, essayed them while recording it, it's kind of wild that he felt confident enough to base a music video basically on what he does in real life. We get flashbacks to the night before where he's walking through a club filled with women in lingerie. At the end, he's fighting a guy in a wolf mask with a lightsaber, but at one point it looks like he hallucinates into seeing a real wolf, almost insinuating that he's like on drugs. The whole thing is weird, but it ends with him having a foursome in the bed and then waking up with the girls passed out. Some netizen comments read, "I feel like he invented the word foreshadowing. This is vlog. When you decided to take based on a true story very seriously."
Yeah, it's like foreshadowing, but also it's not foreshadowing. It's just subconsciously what you really want, just brought into like an artistic form. Like if you, it's, maybe we can catch people in their artistic stuff now.
But again, this is all hindsight. When the video first came out, everybody loved it. JJY was getting praise, and if anyone critiqued how sexual and weird it was, everyone said, it's his art. That's how he expresses himself. It's his career. It's a literal music
But
video.
that's true,
But now,
though.
netizens are comparing it to a movie Sully did around the same time. Sully worked on a movie called Real. It's an action noir film. She had this scene where she's topless. First of all, who cares? Second of all, it's for a film. Just like it could be argued that all the scandalous racy scenes in JJY's music video are for his art, for his work. Same with Sully. Where is the difference? But the comments under articles about her new film, they read, she's already running around exposing her nipples, not like this is a big deal to her anyway. I can already tell by the stuff she shares on her social media that she wouldn't use a body double. I really don't understand at all why SM Entertainment still has her under them. She's pretty, I'll admit that, but her body's whatever and her personality is just hopeless. She exposes her top half on her own without much prompting anyway. Feels like we've already seen it all. But more than that, she had a scene in the movie where her character does drugs. In South Korea, drug usage is considered one of the worst things you could ever do. It's probably worse than essaying people Honestly, that's how they see it in the law, okay? They take it very seriously. Sully had zero experience with drugs. So in this attempt to figure out what it would look like, how she was supposed to act, she starts watching 5 movies a day where the main character does drugs. Her friends asked her, why are you doing that? And she said, I don't know what that looks like, so I just really want to do a good job on this. Because it makes sense considering she left FX to pursue acting. She has a lot of pressure. It's clear, like she needs to do well. But netizens thought she acted too well. They argued that only a real drug user would behave like that. From then on, the title of being a drug user starts following Sully, and everything she does is just further confirmation that she's a drug user. She talks a little bit slower compared to others. I don't even think that she talks slow. They say she's on drugs. They would take pictures of her pupils, compare them to other drug users, and it seems like she does naturally have bigger pupils because a lot of people were showing pictures of her where she's clearly not on drugs, like during interviews, and her pupils seem enlarged, like bigger than most people. But they're taking that as...
Or maybe it's the contacts, right? If she's wearing contact lenses, they are usually bigger, the pupils, so that you can see. Like if you've worn contact lens before, they are bigger than your normal pupils.
interviews, and her
Like
pupils
this,
seem
it looks
enlarged, like bigger than
she's
most
on
people.
contacts.
But they're taking that as evidence that she's doing drugs and putting them side by side with drug users' pupils. It was a lot. So when JJY does it, it's his craft, it's his art, it's his expression of creativity. But when Sully does it, she's a drug addict and a slut for showing her breast. One netizen comment focuses on the double standard in the industry. And this is present not just in the K-pop world, but Hollywood, Bollywood, everywhere. The comment reads, men could tie the industry's grandma to the town square pole, and the industry itself would hand the men tomatoes to throw. Women, they breathe wrong, and the industry will shit them out in the shower and stomp on them down the drain. Even after the...
It's true. Like, let's say a guy dates like 20 women in a year. They'll be like, oh, I can't believe like this person is dating. Ah, it's so beautiful. But if a woman dates like 2 men in a year, they'll be like, oh, she's a sloth. Right? Like, wow.
The Burning Sun case, there were protests of women in South Korea holding up signs. For women, everywhere we go feels like the club Burning Sun. But a lot of men stepped in to say that this was truly unfair, that the men felt like they were being unfairly targeted by criminals.
What?
They're like calling women criminals. Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. It's in the US too. You bring it up and then it's, what about the women that lie and ruin men's lives about SA? So that was what was happening here afterwards. Another friend of Seungri said, if Seungri's Kakao messages are a crime, then aren't all Korean men criminals?
What?
Well, if all Korean men are sending our word videos, then yeah, but if you're not and they're not, what are you trying to say? Is he just saying that he sends those messages as well? That's what I'm hearing. Okay, after that idiot comment, I'm now thinking you send your friends or you are word people. You just confessed, basically, is what you're trying to say. Some people are just dumb.
Yeah. A former employee of Burning Sun said, there is no difference between Burning Sun and the current clubs that are open. What happened back then is still happening now. There are lots of coverage about GHP. They are still using it in my club that I'm currently working at. So he moved to a different club. And after Hara's death, unfortunately, a lot of things start taking place. The situation with her ex-boyfriend CJ continues. Even after her passing, her house gets burglarized after her death, and the strangest thing takes place at her funeral. So let's start with CJ, the ex-boyfriend. The first trial for CJ was obviously a mess. Some would even go as far to call it a disgrace. He was given no jail time, and it was not even acknowledged that he committed heinous crimes with the videos of Kuhara. Hara's brother stated at that point, even now, we can't understand how he was acquitted during the first trial for filming her secretly, and how he was able to return to society. After the first sentencing, both sides appealed the sentence. The prosecutors appealed, and Kuhara's family appealed. They did not believe this was an appropriate sentence. It was way too light. The defense, CJ, and his attorneys appealed, which I always think is wild when criminals get away with the lowest sentence manageable, and they still try to appeal. Like, read the room. Everyone is pissed at your sentence. You got incredibly lucky because the justice system favors you. Shut up and go away. But he files for an appeal because he does not agree with the ruling. The appeal is reviewed in 2020, and this is after her passing. The second court stated, threatening to disseminate a video of sexual intercourse causes irreparable harm to the victim and can seriously damage her honor. The victim is a well-known celebrity, and the defendant took advantage of the great harm that would cause and threatened to go through it with the media. The court basically told CJ, you know what? I think you were right. The first trial wasn't good, so we fixed it for you.
Give him more?
We're going to give you a year in prison to be served immediately. Soon after that, Kuara's brother and father sue CJ, and the courts ruled that CJ will pay the family $60,000. And maybe CJ feels like he's got to make some money now, since he has to pay restitution. CJ starts suing people while he's in prison. He starts suing netizens for defaming his character. He ends up suing 6 netizens, and like not even news networks, not even influencers, just straight up random netizens. They didn't even write a blog post about him. They were just in the comment section. He claimed in the courts that these netizens made insulting comments about his trial in an article. The comments hurt his feelings, basically. He sued 6 different netizens, and only one was charged and had to pay him $265. Then there was the situation with the safe. The safe is currently making its rounds on the internet again. But this happened January 2020, so a little over a month after Hara's death. Someone broke into her home and stole her safe. There's a few reasons that everyone's still talking about this, but especially now with her connection to Burning Sun. First of all, the burglar was caught on CCTV camera, masked up with a hat and gloves, but they're still caught trying to get into Kuara's place. Now get this, the thief tries the front door, puts in a passcode, does not get access because Hara's brother had changed her code.
But it was the correct code.
Yes, before.
So it's a friend or someone that knows it. Yeah.
The thief then starts looking for another way in, scales the wall, and enters through the second floor balcony. Side note, another suspicious detail is this happened 49 days after her passing, so her family were paying their respects as with Buddhist tradition. The 49th day of someone's death is a time to say goodbye again.
So on that exact day, the families are busy.
Yes.
And someone broke in. Wow.
Nothing else in the house was touched, rummaged through, or taken. She had designer bags in her closet. She had jewelry. None of that was touched. Her safe was taken. Her
How
safe,
big? Was it a big safe?
60 pounds.
They hauled a 60-pound safe out?
Yes.
Bare hand?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
60 pounds?
Yeah. Okay, maybe like more like 50, but it was 50 to 60 pounds.
What?
Yeah. And she was known to put some jewelry, investment documents, and some old phones of hers in there. So let's work through this. If the thief wanted her jewelry that's in there, it's clear that they would want money, right? Why didn't they take any other valuables in the house? She had other jewelry laying around. She had designer bags laying around. None of that was even touched. Okay, do they want her investment documents? That would be very difficult to do anything with those without being caught. It's not like anyone can easily transfer her investments into their name, especially add the fact that she's a very public figure and her death was very, very public. Then the third thing that we know is in her safe are her old phones. What would anyone want to gain from getting her old phones? Maybe there was something she had on there that someone didn't want everyone to see.
And how did they know?
So there are speculations now with her connection to Burning Sun that she might have more evidence on there. And someone associated with Burning Sun is the allegation, had someone go in and steal that safe. Again, this is all speculation because the thief has still yet to be identified. All we know is that the thief is a man, slim build, about 5'11", wears glasses, and appears to be in his 20s or 30s. I will say there are a lot of allegations of who this thief could be, including another celebrity, but I think it is kind of crazy to be pointing fingers without a little more evidence because I just feel like, what if it's not? Like, the damage it would do if it's not is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's someone that's fit enough to carry a safe that big, though. To make the situation even messier after her death, reports start coming out about a strange woman at her funeral. They stated that at Kuara's funeral, there was an oddly smiley woman there that kept asking other celebrities for photos at her funeral. Like, oh, can I take a selfie with you? She would go up to celebrities, shake their hands and say, I saw you on TV. Can we take a photo? People were confused.
They should
A
ask
lot
more,
of Kuwata's
yeah.
friends, who also happened to be famous, were very uncomfortable. And not only that, the lady requesting photos with the idols, she had a lot of makeup on, almost like she got her makeup done for this event. And she was just smiling in a way that was not fitting for a funeral. It was bright smiling. It wasn't even smiling because you're trying to remember that person in this loving, happy way. All of this was made even more uncomfortable by the fact that that strange lady is Kuwata's mom. Hara barely knew this woman. The only memory that she has of her mom is that that's her biological mom, and the fact that she used to use Hara, her own daughter, that's only in kindergarten at this point, to make excuses to go cheat on her husband. Yeah. Kuwata's real family only consists of her dad and her older brother. Her brother would say about their mom, when I was 11 and Hara was 9, she left us. She just disappeared. She just left without even saying goodbye. The same day, Hara's older brother found their dad unconscious and foaming at the mouth after swallowing handfuls of sleeping pills. He said,
no, the
I remember that
brother's
day my mother left
alone.
home. I was so young, so I wasn't sure why she left. My father asked my sister and me in an odd kind of way, is there anything else you want to have? That night, he attempted to self-exit. He said, my sister and I watched together as my father was put in an ambulance. To my sister Hara, who was only in 2nd grade at the time, our mother's sudden absence and my father's pain must have caused her sadness. It was a huge thing for them. Thankfully, their father survived, but it was always a wound that they would have. Side note, they were pretty much completely estranged from their mother, but in 2017, Kuwata does reach out one time. Kuwata regrets this meeting. I mean, she said it was very foreign and strange. The energy was just off, which turned out to be true. There were allegations that Kuwata's mom was mainly interested in being able to brag that she was Kuwata's mom. Their very first meeting after so long, Kuwata just wanted to meet her, talk to her, get a hug, get some closure. But her mom shows up with her relatives' kids that were all fans of Kuwata, her friends' children that are all friends of Kuwata. She made some sad excuse on why she never reached out. And the worst part of all of this is, for the 20 years of not seeing her mom, Kuwata found out that she only lived 10 minutes away. And she was going around telling all of her friends that she was Kuwata's mom. She kept tabs on everything Kuwata was doing so that she could brag to her friends about it.
Wow, that is so sick and twisted.
And she didn't even reach out first.
It's bad. So why now? Why is she suddenly at Kuwata's funeral, dressed in black, acting like this heartbroken mom who was always in her life and just is so devastated? Also,
I thought she's very happy.
Yeah, like she would go through emotions where she acts sad and she's like, no, I need to be the person that stands next to her casket and gets all the bows from people because you have to bow to the family. And then she would go back to like, can we take a selfie? And then she would like cry. And then, can we take a selfie? Also, why did she come with lawyers? She showed up to the funeral with lawyers. Kuwata's brother and father would soon find out that she was there to go after Kuwata's inheritance. It's unclear exactly how much Kuwata was worth, but she had a building that was worth $2.3 million. She had another apartment that was worth $900,000. That's just her real estate profile. There could be a lot of other assets we don't know about. That's what she's after. After her death, there would be this whole legal battle between brother and father and then mom, which, by the way...
Maybe she sent someone for the safe. If the document... Oh, but then she can't use it. Or maybe she didn't think it through until it's done, and then she's like, oh, I can't use it because then they're gonna suss me. Maybe to like low-key change the will, but then no. If a will has been... I don't think she would have had a will. Do you think so? Because if there is a will, it's gonna be at the courts or with the attorney anyways, so you cannot change it. Oh, this is crazy.
She had a chance. Under Korean law, if someone does not have a will or children or is unmarried, their inheritance goes to their parents. There's no stipulation that the parents have to have been a part of the child's life to get the inheritance. Just by being the parent on the birth certificate is enough. Kuwata's brother would reiterate, just because someone gave birth to you doesn't mean they're a parent. A person who abandoned us and even gave up her parental rights is trying to take away assets earned through Hara's hard work. And that just means our laws are unjust. This prompted the brother to start a petition for an act to be introduced into law to protect the assets of children that are abandoned or abused by their parents. After almost 5 years, the act would be passed, the Kuwata Act. Clara's brother is using the inheritance to set up a foundation to help single parents.
Aw.
The last messages that he's ever sent his sister were, I'm begging you, please don't have any negative thoughts, don't get sick, take care of your health, and sometime in the future, I hope you get married, have children, and live for a very long time. When you're sad, just cry it out. I know it's hard to let it out, but I love you, little sister. She responds, I love you, Oppa, don't worry. You must be so sad. My heart aches like crazy too. Eat something delicious in Japan. I'll bring some delicious food tomorrow. Okay. He was gonna go over the weekend that she died. She told him no, she wanted to go to a party. She didn't ever go to a party. Hara, before her death, kept encouraging her brother and sister-in-law to have kids, so much so that she even paid for their doctor's visit so that they could try to conceive. After Hara's funeral, her brother came home. He was a mess at this point, and his wife was in tears, and she told him that she was pregnant. He said, I cried so much then. I was so sad. If she had just waited a few days, if she hadn't made that choice, she would have been an aunt. August 10th, 2020, Clara's niece, Klu Harin, was born. Hara's brother would say, she reminds me so much of my little sister, and it makes me cry. Our Hara always talked about wanting a niece and even bought us nutritional supplements, so we decided to name her after the name that she thought was the prettiest. As for Clara's dad, he said, she used to go to Japan for promotions a lot, so now I often try to think, my daughter is in Japan. She's in Japan right now, alive and working. It helps me find comfort in some ways. And that is the case of The Burning Sun, the hopefully final episode. And what are your thoughts? I just think it's crazy, the juxtaposition of the timelines of what the girls are getting cyberbullied for and all their quote scandals and controversies and how everybody turns on them. And then these guys are doing some of the most heinous crimes imaginable, and they still to this day have fans. They have supporters. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, and please stay safe. I will see you guys in the next one.
Well, I said my thoughts, and I know some of them are not nice words, but I was just so mad. So freaking mad. Ugh, this is, yeah. Well, I hope this is the last part also. And if the world cannot punish people correctly for evil deeds, it's okay. Because only God will punish them the end of the day. The end of the world. Obviously some people's belief don't believe in that, so that's why some people just do whatever because they don't have that faith. But there are some people also who don't believe, but they're not evil, they're not committing crimes, they're perfectly good human beings. I don't know what goes into the brain of people who do that stuff, but like, do they think they're invincible? Do they think that they're like immortal or something? What? Anyways, you know what? We'll just leave it here because the more questions I have, the further away from the answer we will get to, actually. So, anyways, beautiful peeps, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. If you have any more inputs, let me know down in the comments. If you have any suggestions of what to check out, let me know down in the comments as well. Thank you guys for being here if you are, and I will see you in next videos. Bye.